Hi guys, thanks for stopping by. We have another kind of couple weeks worth of manis to talk about. I'm hoping to get through a good majority of these. I'd like to get through all of them, but we do have quite a few here to talk about, so I don't know. I'm gonna keep an eye on the time and see how we go, because I'd like to get through all of these, because this will be the remainder of what I've got left for manis, if we can get through what I'm wearing right now. But I also don't want to make this video terribly long, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I've actually not been wearing as much nail polish recently as I used to. There have been a few days out of the week where I didn't wear any nail polish during the work week anyways. There was a couple days I went to work without nail polish. I've just been super, my life has been crazy hectic the last couple weeks. I have not had as much time in the evening to paint my nails. I've had to do other things, and I've been super stressed at work. So when I get home from work the last couple weeks, I've just been exhausted and I just want to go to bed immediately, or I've got, like I said, other things that are keeping me busy in the evening, so I don't have as much time in the evening to be painting my nails. So there have been a couple days where I have gone without nail polish, and there also have been times in the last couple weeks where I've worn a nail polish more than once a day, or not more than once a day, more than one day. This polish in particular, I wore this yesterday, so you will see this polish in two videos because I filmed a video yesterday and I'm filming a video today. So that is what we're doing, but this still is quite a bit worth of nail polish. So that's kind of where my life has been. It's just been super hectic and I haven't had time to do I've barely had time to even paint my nails, let alone do nail art. So I haven't done really any stamping the last couple weeks. There were times where I attempted to do it, but the times that I attempted, the stamp just wasn't working with me. Like, it wouldn't pick up on the stamper and I would just get frustrated and kind of give up. So that is where we're at. No nail art for these next couple weeks. So let's go ahead and jump in. First up is going to be Zoya Darby. This came out in the Zoya Darby came out in the spring last year. I did review this collection. I just had not gotten a chance to wear it. And this is just kind of like, it's coming up a little bluer here in the camera than I would like it to be, but it's just a dusty, just like a dusty kind of sky blue. The really pretty thing about this is it does have this really pretty kind of electric blue shimmer. There was another polish in this collection that had a similar shimmer. So it is pretty. I did enjoy this a little bit more than I thought. On initial swatch, Linus is going crazy out there for the birds. On the initial swatch of this, I wasn't terribly crazy about it. I wanted that shimmer to stand out a little bit more on the nail, and as I'm wearing it as a mani, I did still want that shimmer to show up just a little bit more, but that's just me as a shimmer addict. I really enjoy very prominent shimmers, but I could see some people very much just kind of liking the subtle shimmer that's in this, and it stands out just enough, but for me, I really want that punch of shimmer. So very nice formula. This is a really pretty kind of like mid-transition shade for some. I could see this as a spring color. So I did very much enjoy Darby. Just, I love shimmers, and this one is just like this really pretty electric kind of like, actually almost has like a purple vibe to it in some lights. So it was very, very pretty. So that again is Darby. And next up is another polish from the Rogue Lacquer Wilds of Arizona collection, part 1. So I've been slowly working my way through part 1 of that collection. This one is called Petrified Forest, and this one is kind of I want to say it's probably like a concrete gray, and it does have the copper flakies in it. Very, very pretty in the bottle. I had a hard time, I did think this was pretty. I have a hard time with grays, so I wasn't overly wowed by it, but that is probably just because I'm not super, grays for me are just kind of, I find them a little bit boring. But the copper flakies in this was very pretty. The formula was nice, so I did enjoy this. I just, I wasn't crazy about it, and that's just probably because it was a gray. But if you're into grays, if you're into copper flakies, this actually has like, the flakies in here have a little bit of a duochromeness to it, but I don't recall seeing that on the nail. But if you're into grays, if you're into copper flakies right now, this would probably be a good one to add to your collection. That again is Petrified Forest. Next up is another Zoya that I had purchased probably like a year or so ago and just had not had a chance to wear yet. This one is called Caitlin. Caitlin I held off on purchasing for quite a long time because I have polishes that are either like slightly lighter than this or slightly darker than this. So this is kind of the in the middle shade where I was kind of like, I don't really think I need this because I have this color, I have this color. But I saw so many people kind of raving about how much they liked it, so I decided to go ahead and purchase it. Caitlin is a medium gray that leans on the purple side, so there it is there. The polish that I thought it was most close to was Zoya Kelly, but Zoya Kelly is far darker than this one, so this is a kind of like in the middle kind of grayish purple, whereas Kelly is again on the darker side of the grayish purples. A similar kind of lighter shade to this would be Zoya's August. August has a little bit more of a blue tinge than a purple tinge, but they are slightly similar. But I really liked the formula on this. I mean, it's Zoya, so that's to be expected, but this was very nice. I did end up enjoying this. So that again is Caitlin from Zoya. Next up is a Color Club. I only have a handful of Color Clubs in my collection. I purchased a Halo Hues set probably like 3 years ago now, just on a whim. I remember people talking about the Halo Hues. I would just see people talking about them every once in a while, and I saw them on sale on like Live Love Polish's website. So I was like, oh, I've heard people talk about these. I might as well grab them. And this was at a time where I wasn't like really into linear hollows. So I do have like 4 or 5 in my collection, and I've been slowly working my way through them. And this one is called Crystal Baller. And this one is just kind of again, it's coming up a little bit bluer in my, in the viewfinder here. So, but this is kind of just like another sky blue, but this one has a linear hollow. Very beautiful. I have really enjoyed all of the hollow hues that I have tried so far. This one by far, is this one my favorite? I would say this one's probably my favorite at this point. I just thought the linear hollow on it was really, really nice. It stood out really well on the nail. Even, you could even see some of that linear hollow even in non-direct sunlight. So I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Formula was really nice. So I have kind of, I'm not like actively searching, but I do kind of want to add a few more Color Clubs to my collection. Especially the Halo Hues ones, just because I think the formula on it's so nice, and the linear hollow like flame is really pretty. So that again is Crystal Baller from Color Club. Next up is a tonic polish that I picked up in a restock a few months ago. This one is called Windy City. This was a exclusive polish to I think there was a polish convention of some kind in, it's Windy City, so it was named for the city, which was Chicago. So I want to say this came out as an exclusive polish, and I saw some people talking about it. I think Lisa Hendy had talked about it initially, and someone else talked about it. And I wasn't going to pick it up initially because I thought it looked really similar to some other tonics that I have. One being Toxic, and I feel like there was another one, but that's the one that's coming to mind. So I thought they were somewhat similar, so I wasn't going to purchase them, or I wasn't going to purchase this because I had another one. Choking on my spit. But there was a few people on Instagram, specifically the Polished Librarian. She had mentioned to me that they were different enough that she thought I needed it. So I saw it on a restock a few months ago and decided to go ahead and pick it up. So this is a little bit different from Toxic. It is a kind of blurple that leans more on the purple side than that leans more on the blue side than it does the purple side, whereas Toxic, and I think there's another one, but for some reason it's not coming to my mind, but the other one that I'm thinking of, Toxic, is more of a royal purple. So you've got here, again, kind of a blurply bluish purple. It's got a beautiful pink flash, and it's got tons of scattered hollow. I mean, the scattered hollow in here is crazy. So very, very, very pretty. I very much enjoyed this. Glad I was able to pick it up. I don't know how readily available this is, because like I said, it was a exclusive polish, so I saw it on a restock and grabbed it. So I don't know how much more often, or how much, what am I trying to say? I don't know how often she's going to restock this, so if you happen to catch it, I would recommend grabbing it because it is very pretty. So Windy City from Tonic. Next up is a thermal polish. I feel like I hadn't worn a thermal polish in a while. So this one, and this also was probably around the beginning of March. And I had full intentions at the beginning of March to wear a lot of greens because of St. Patrick's Day. I wasn't gonna go all greens until St. Patrick's Day because I figured I would, I don't think I have enough greens in my collection to do that, at least like St. Patrick's Day colored greens. I don't think I have a lot of in my collection, so I knew I wasn't going to wear green polish all the way to St. Patrick's Day, but I wanted to try and be festive and at least wear a few of them. I didn't end up succeeding as well as I would have liked because, like I said, I realized I don't have as many St. Patrick's Day kind of 4-leaf clover type greens that I would have for some reason that I thought I did, and I know I probably don't. I mean, I didn't think I had a lot of them because that's just not a color that I gravitate towards, but I thought I had at least a couple. But anyway, so this I wore probably around the beginning of the month because I wanted to try and be festive for St. Patrick's Day. This one is called Magic Turquoise and it is from Cirque Colors. And like I said, this is a thermal polish. So you're looking at it in its cold state, which is a kind of like a shamrock green. Man, I'm hoping the color is going to be a little bit better in editing because this is looking way more green than I would like it to be. I also don't have any sun right now, so that could be why. But yeah, this is more of like a shamrock kind of green when it's cold, and it does have some little tiny like gold flakies, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to pick those up, but there are some gold little flakies in here. And when it is warm, it shifts over into a turquoise. And so when you get those, when it's warm and you see the blue turquoise against those copper flakies, it looks very much like Southwestern jewelry. So it's very, very pretty. I wish the transition on this was a little bit more apparent. It definitely changes, like you can see the transition, but the colors are so close together that you have to kind of really focus your eyes. Even when they're shifting from one color to the other, like sometimes I have to look at my nail and be like, is that shamrock green or is that turquoise? The colors are just very, very close together, which I feel like if you're not super into crazy color combinations, you would probably like that. But for me, I would like the transition to be just like a little bit more apparent on the nail. I just think the colors are just so close that it's hard to tell without like, you know, staring at your nails very closely. But it is a very pretty polish. I do enjoy it. I think it's an interesting color combination. Just wish I could kind of like enjoy the transition a little bit more. So Magic Turquoise from Cirque Colors. Next up is I hadn't purchased any Femme Fatales in a really long time. I don't know why. Femme Fatale was one of the first kind of like boutique indie polishes that I came across when I started collecting, when I started getting into indie polishes. And Femme Fatale, like I said, is one of the first brands that I kind of reached for because they had thermal polishes, which not a lot of brands were doing at the time. And so I got really heavily into Femme Fatale. I had quite a few in my collection at one point. And then I started kind of branching out and trying other brands and realizing that the formulas, I liked the formulas a little bit. Like, I didn't realize how thin the formulas were on Femme Fatale. They're from Australia, so the price was a little bit high. So I just kind of started, you know, branching out and trying other brands. And so I kind of forgotten about Femme Fatale until recently. I kind of follow them on Instagram, but I just don't like follow them intensely. I just, you know, I see them here and there. But this collection, I'm not really sure why it caught my eye so much, but from what I've heard from other people, again, I don't really follow them specifically, you know, like super well, but this is from their Prince and Heroes collection, which I believe is they do a release of a collection, a Prince and Heroes collection every year, I think. And so this is this year's Prince and Heroes collection. And they had several thermal polishes in this collection. I don't know if they've done them in the past, but they did release like 3 or 4 thermal polishes in this Prince and Heroes collection, and it released like earlier in February, and I don't think these are available anymore, which stinks. But they released like 3 or 5 thermal polishes in this collection, and I thought the color combinations were just really interesting, really unique, and so they caught my eye. And I ended up purchasing, I wanted to purchase a lot more, but I ended up only purchasing 3 of them. And so this was the first one that I decided to wear, and this was the most interesting of the bunch. This one is called Milo, and Milo is this like olivey green color when it's warm, when it's cold, and then it shifts over to this like brown, this like medium brown color. And so it was just such an interesting color combination. And what really sold me on it is it's that interesting color combination for one, but then the second one was this really cool kind of like light aqua blue flash. And so what that aqua blue flash does is it kind of turns the brown that it turns when it's warm. The blue flash in here makes that brown almost pink toned, and so it was just such an interesting color combination. I don't know, I mean, I would think usually like an olive green like this that is so heavily yellow would have just clashed terribly on my skin tone. And to be honest, when it was fully cold and you couldn't see the flash, it did have a little bit of a yellow undertone to me that in certain lights I was kind of like, ugh. But it transitioned most of the day and I caught that blue flash quite a bit, so I didn't see the full yellow tinge to this olive green most of the day. But every once in a while I caught it and I was kind of like, I don't really love that. But when it was in mid-transition and I caught that like brownish pinky color that it made when it was changing colors, oh, it was so pretty. And I just think the uniqueness of this polish was amazing. So really, really glad I picked this up. This one, I didn't see a whole lot of swatches of this one. I saw a lot of swatches of the other ones, which we'll talk about here shortly. But this one was kind of a enigma. I had just seen like 1 or 2 swatches and I couldn't really tell the color on it. So I kind of picked this one up on a whim and I'm really glad I did. So that is Milo from Femme Fatale. Next up is a Cadillacquer that I loved a whole bunch last year and decided to bust out again. This one is Hug the Dog from Cadillacquer. This one started me on my love affair of Cadillacquer. I think it was like the first one that I had ever picked up from them, and I was just so impressed that I went a little crazy last year and bought a crap ton of Cadillacquers. And I feel like this one's still probably pretty high on the list of one of my favorites. So Hug the Dog is a kind of like, it's in the middle minty, it's like an in the middle minty color. It's a little bit more mint blue than it is mint green, but it kind of rides the line, so you could kind of, you know, I could see it kind of going both ways for people, but to me it leans just slightly, well, yeah, I think it just leans slightly on the blue side for me. And it has a bunch of copper flakies, which at the time I feel like was kind of unique. I feel like last year, this time, not a lot of people were doing copper flakies, so it was just something really interesting. And I love, love, love this polish. I think there's just so much copper flakies that you can't miss it on the nail. And I usually don't go for these kind of like mint green for me. Is kind of a hard color. I always want to like them, but I have trouble with them sometimes. So beautiful formula, love the copper flakies, really enjoy this one. So that again is Hug the Dog from Cadillacquer. Next up is a polish. So I was trying to stick with the green colors. This is a polish. It's not necessarily a St. Patrick's Day green, but I hadn't worn it yet and it was green, so I figured I'd go ahead and bust it out. This came out in a polish pickup. It doesn't have a date on it. I want to say it was November. I think it was part of that month. And this one's called Swiss Army Sonic. And this is more of a like army green with a scattered hollow, and what sold me on it is that very beautiful red flesh that's in there. Really enjoyed this polish. Not sure if this is the right time of year to be wearing this, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I thought that red shimmer was really, really pretty. So Swiss Army Sonic from Polish. Next up is a Zoya. This is a what do you call it? It's not available anymore. Discontinued. This is a discontinued Zoya that I saw Walker from Olive Ave Nails feature quite a few months ago, and I had actually never heard of it. I started following Zoya several years, you know, not very long ago, or I started following Zoya not too long ago, and so there's quite a few polishes from maybe like 2013 and earlier that I don't really know a lot about because I just wasn't following them intently. So this is Phoebe from Zoya, and it came out, it was the first collection of matte velvets that Zoya released, and I think they released maybe like a trio or of some kind, and it was a bunch of like summery matte velvet colors, and so I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. So this was, like I said, in the first collection of matte velvets that they ever did, and so this got discontinued quite a long time ago because I don't even remember hearing anything about it. So when Walker featured it in one of her videos, because she had picked it up in a D-stash, I had never even heard of it. But I thought it was really pretty. It was an interesting blue, and you know, I just kind of was like, oh, that's interesting, but I heard her say it was discontinued, so I didn't really think about it. And then probably like a month or so ago, I saw that Walker had started a D-stash page, and luckily I caught the post early enough that I was able to snag her bottle of Phoebe that she was D-stashing. So it is mine now, so thank you, Walker. It is very pretty. I very much enjoyed it. These bottles are a little frosty, so I don't know how well you're gonna, I think you can see, you know, the color fairly well, but this is just a really pretty kind of like aqua blue. The formula on this matte velvet, it's gotten better over time. They're still, they're not too bad, the ones that I have from later collections, but this one is extremely thin, it's extremely thin, and so it takes probably, I want to say, did it take 4 coats? I feel like I wouldn't have done 4 coats. I feel like it took maybe 3 to 4 coats. It is extremely thin. You have to be very careful when you're working with it because it does start to dry on you when you're working with it. So I could see some people not really loving this and having trouble applying it, but I think it's a really interesting blue. It's very, very pretty. And it is discontinued, so I was kind of happy to kind of add it to my collection. So that again is Phoebe from Zoya. Next up is another one of those Femme Fatale thermals that I was just talking about. This one is Prince Hans, and Prince Hans is a kind of like blackened purple when it's cold. And you can see that little bit of a shimmer that's in there. And this shifts, I'm gonna have to double check because I can't remember what it's supposed to shift to. And I don't think I posted this on social media. I did post this on social media. Okay, so this shifts from, so this is what it looks like in its cold state. It's that kind of just like, it's not really blackened purple. I would say it's just more of like a deeper kind of eggplant purple. So you do get that little bit of shimmer that's in there, and then when it's warm it shifts over to this like pretty like kind of like summery medium pink color. And so the transition on this was very pretty. Unfortunately, I had a lot of trouble getting this to transition throughout the day. I don't think this transitioned on me barely at all. The swatch photo that I got here, I think I had to like force change it. So I was slightly disappointed in this. And I also think this was a tri-thermal, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think I ever got the tri-thermal to work. So now that I'm thinking about it, I think this was supposed to transition between this kind of eggplant purple. I think it also was supposed to have, it was almost supposed to have like this blurply kind of in-between color. And I guess looking at my nail here, if I'm looking really closely at it, you can kind of see on the tips of it, and I'm going to show you the photo here, but it's probably not going to be close enough to where you can see it. But it shifts from this like dark kind of dark, like almost that dark black and purple that I was just talking about on the tips, and then it shifts over to that eggplanty purple. So those colors are so close together that, as you can see here, you can't really tell the distinction between the two. And then at the bottom, at the warmest state, it's kind of that like warmish kind of, you know, summery kind of sunset colored pink. So I guess I do kind of see the tri-thermal, but the colors are so close together that they just kind of blend together as two. And like I said before, I did have trouble even getting this to transition throughout the day. So this one was a little disappointing, and I'm sad because, like I said, I stopped myself from buying all of the thermals. And so since this one's a dud, I'm kind of upset that I should have maybe gotten another one instead of this one. So a little disappointed in this one. This might get de-stashed. So that is Prince Hans from Femme Fatale. And then we may have to cut it. I may have to save this last week. So I'll finish out this one because we're getting into the 30 minutes mark here. So this one is from A England. This is one of the new releases. They did a linear hollow collection a couple months ago, and this one unfortunately is in French, and so I'm gonna attempt JayJ Ravine. I didn't take French in school, I'm sorry. So that probably is not correct, but you can see it down below if you can't really read it there. But so this one is kind of a like light lavender, kind of like icy lavender purple. And again, this was a linear hollow set, so it's just got a crap ton of glitter in here so that it'll have that linear hollow in sunlight. This one, unfortunately, I was disappointed in. I did not, even in sunlight, I feel like the linear hollow just wasn't very strong, and you know, I'm not in the sunlight that often, so the fact that, you know, to me, if I don't even see the linear hollow in direct sunlight, I just don't see the point in this. So, and I have polishes that are kind of similar to this. They're not linear hollows, but if the linear hollow in this isn't going to stand out, I don't really see the point in this polish. So this one I was pretty disappointed in. I think I'm going to end up destashing this one. So I think I'm going to end up sending this one to Kendra, because I think she said she wanted it and I said I didn't like it. So Kendra, I think this one's going to you. So, because she just sent me a polish. You won't see it in this video, but she just sent me a polish, so I probably will be sending her this polish. So that again is a England, and I'm not going to pronounce the name because it's going to get butchered. All right, next up is a picture polish. I picked up a couple picture polishes a few months ago. I don't pick up a whole lot of them just because I always cringe at the price tag, just because they're kind of expensive for indies. And but this one's really pretty. I ended up enjoying it a whole lot. This is Royal. And like the name suggests, it's just a really pretty royal purple with a scattered hollow. Stop focusing on my face. Their bottles are not great. They're always just covered in words, so then you can't really get a good picture of the bottle. But yeah, so linear hollow in, not linear hollow, scattered hollow in this. Really love the purple in this. It's so vibrant. So whenever I do get a picture polish, I'm always just like, oh, I really love picture polishes. Why do they have to be so expensive? And they're really nice. They're nice formulas most of the time. They're nice polishes. I just, for $15, I just can't. $15 for me is really hard. I'll spend $14 all day. For some reason, $15 is my cutoff point. I'm like, ugh. So, but when I can get them on sale, I really like, I would highly suggest this one because it was really pretty. So, Royal from Picture Polish. We have two more. This one is Heather's Hues. This was a polish. I think this was one of her polishes of the month in January. This is one of the polishes of the month. I think Heather's Hues, I don't follow her as closely as I should, but once a month she does a duo of some kind, and so this was part of the duo. I didn't pick up the other one. I just picked up this one. This one is called Snow Globe, and this is a thermal. And the reason I picked this up is because the shift in this was very similar to Wool Mittens from Coloristic Carol, which if you follow, if you watch quite a few of my monthly mani, weekly manis, I talked about Wool Mittens in a few mani videos ago, and how I had a lot of trouble getting it to transition on my nail, and I was very much disappointed in it. So this one I saw maybe like a couple weeks later and saw that the transition on it was kind of similar. So here in the bottle you can kind of see it's the base on this is kind of this like darkened teal. Memory card was full. So anyway, so I think this has it's got a bunch of flakies that are duochrome. There is some glitter that I want to say like a scattered, no, I think that's just part of the shimmer. So yeah, darkened, kind of like darkened teal. It's got those duochrome flakies in there, and then it also has like you can kind of see it there, like a reddish shimmer. And so this is the cold state. When it shifts to the warm state, it's this like peachy, kind of like this peachy color. And this transitioned a little bit better than the Coloristic Carol, but I still had trouble getting this one to transition on my nails. It just doesn't transition that easily. I don't know if it's just the pigment that's in this, but maybe it's just not reacting to my body temperature as well. But for some reason, this color combination is hard. As much as I want it to work, it is not working. So this is the second bottle that I don't know if I'm gonna, I mean, it worked kind of, but it still just wasn't. I like very easy transition colors, and I was having trouble with this one. So this one might end up getting destashed as well. So that again is Snow Globe from Heather's Hues. And then the last one we're gonna talk about is a Cirque Colors. This is a very pretty green. This is called Succulent Garden. And this is a very pretty like muted sage green, kind of like a dusty sage green with a very pretty red shimmer and scattered hollow. I love this polish. This sage green is just like slightly darker than other ones, so it's a little bit more of like a neutral kind of green. Oh, it's so pretty, and the red shimmer that's in this the red shimmer that is in this stands out so well. It's just a really gorgeous polish, and I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to get this video uploaded, but I'm pretty sure this was a part. Cirque has been doing a discount sale for the month of March, so now that it's April, I might be lying, that might not be available anymore, but I just used it the other day, and I feel like that might have been March though. They had a sale going on, so I don't know if it's still going on or not, but this was discounted a little bit. They did a discount on a bunch of like greens and like florally kind of colors, so I would definitely recommend this one. This is a pretty popular shade from them. So that again is Succulent Garden. And I think we're gonna wrap that up, guys. I have one more week of polishes, but I think this video is getting a little bit long, and I wanted to try and keep it as short as we can. So thank you guys for stopping by. Like I've mentioned, I'm so sorry, I've been really busy and I've been trying to put out as much content as I can, but unfortunately my life is super stressful right now with work and stuff, and sometimes I don't have the energy in the evenings to like sit down and film a video. I barely have time in the evenings to be painting my nails, so I do apologize. I have also not been posting on Instagram as much as I would like, but I'm trying to get things back in order and trying to like, hopefully my work life will be calming down here shortly. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys have been having a really nice Mani month. Let me know what you did for St. Patrick's Day. I think I've got one other green in this pile that we have to talk about next monthly Manis that I did wear on St. Patrick's Day, but let me know what you guys were wearing. What collections have you been picking up recently? I know, you know, Zoya had their spring collection, which I picked up a few from, and I do have a video that I need to do on that. Cirque just released a couple new polishes for their Metropolis collection, which look really cool. I did pick up a few from those. I saw Coloristic Carol released a bunch of like speckled kind of Easter egg looking polishes that I'm trying not to buy, but I kind of want to buy at least one of them. So there's that. So I've been seeing a whole bunch of like spring releases. So let me know what you've been buying. I try to be a spring polish person, but for some reason like spring is probably my least favorite time of year. I don't know why. I always get excited when spring comes, and I wear maybe like a couple weeks worth of pastels, and then I get bored and want to go to something else. So I'm trying to be a little bit more into pastels, and whenever the collections release, I'm always like, oh, those are so pretty, but then like I said, I wear them for maybe like a week or two, and then I'm just like, let's do something else. So yeah, anyway, that is, let me know what spring collections you've been looking at, because I definitely want to take a peek at some and broaden my collection, because I feel like my pastels are lacking, but then again, I feel like I don't reach for them very often, so that sounds very, what's the word, hypocritical? I don't wear them, but yet I still want to buy them. Story of my life. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a good one. I will talk to you next time.